strategy fans, welcome to Tacticon. Welcome to another Devtalk, this time around about Rogue Command. We have on board here Mario Imhoff. Mario, who are you and what is Rogue Command?
Well, I'm Mario. I'm a game developer full-time for 3 years now, and in that time we've been working on Rogue Command. That's our first real project. We had a couple of prototypes for some other stuff in the beginning. We're Fennec. We're a company of just 2 people. It's just me and Martin.
An army.
And yeah. And because we read everywhere that developing RTS games is kind of like the easiest genre to get into. Like, you should do that, something really easy. As your first game, we decided to tackle that because it seemed like the thing to do. No, basically, it's we both love these kinds of games, and while we were in the progress of founding the company, I put Martin onto Slay the Spire, and at the same time, Command & Conquer Remastered got announced. So kind of these two ideas were kind of gelling in his head. And meanwhile, I was working on a prototype for a virtual reality synthesizer application, which I thought was a really amazing idea. And and Martin said, hey, couldn't it kind of work nicely to combine roguelike and real-time strategy? And I said, no, definitely not. That's a stupid idea. Let's not do that. I have this cool idea for this virtual reality synthesizer. That's way cooler idea. And yeah, thankfully he really liked his idea so much that he came back with it for a couple of days after. And the more we talked about it, the more things started clicking for me.
Okay.
And yeah, basically then it took like a couple of months of like talking about the core design. And then we basically had the idea for the game done, and since then we only try to finish it. There's very little scope creep, very little feature creep, that kind of stuff. It's been kind of a weirdly smooth sailing project for us as our first PC game. Martin is a very experienced programmer. I have never done anything of the things that I'm doing now for Rogue Command, because I'm doing all the 3D modeling, all the sound design and so on, and yeah, the game design. And yeah, somehow we seem to have made it work quite nicely. We had our demo out now since February, and yeah, the feedback has been absolutely amazing. We had a big update a couple of months ago, where the demo now is way bigger, and yeah, it's been a lot of fun to develop and interact with the community.
Talking of demo, will it be only available for the Tacticon or beyond that?
No, we just have it out there. It's something you can just download at any time and see for yourself. That is really important for us because, like I said, this is our first PC game, and it's the first game of, like, we worked in the mobile space before, so we have experience shipping stuff. Although I was more like an internal coach. Like, I don't know if you know the Scrum development method. I was a Scrum master there. Yeah, so that was my gig basically before that. And yeah, but now I forgot what I was gonna say.
The worst. Big quick hello from Jacqueline and Coach towards you, and CML, probably some great friends of yours or part of the community. So yeah, go grab the demo. It's free to download, of course. Test it out. They put a lot of time and effort and love into it.
I remember it. Yeah, exactly. And the cool thing is, so for us, the demo is really important because we are not super experienced in this kind of game. So we basically are using it as an early access version of the game. So it's it's a very big demo. We have people who played it for dozens and dozens of hours, myself actually included. I still enjoy playing the demo just on its own. Because there's a lot of stuff in there. You can do a lot of different builds already. And our plan is basically to just keep updating it alongside the main game until the main game is ready. And then
do you have an ETA on the main game? Do you have like a planned estimate when you want to?
Yes-ish. Yes-ish. Let's say first half of next year is what we plan to do.
First half of 2023. Nice. So we talked about Slay. You mentioned Slay the Spire, mentioned Command & Conquer, and now for somebody who has not played Rogue Command so far, how do you combine deck building with RTS? How does the synergy work there? Especially since you said that your own reaction was like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, yeah, maybe. So basically, I think it works way more seamlessly than you might expect. Basically, so the idea is similar to say the Spire. You have these, or also Monster Train has been a very big inspiration of ours in a lot of other ways. So you have like a combat level, and then after that, when you finish this level, then you build out your deck. So we have this kind of like a reward matrix, which we'll see later, which looks a bit like the Slay the Spire map. But it worked a bit differently because on that map you kind of decide on different nodes if you want to get an upgrade for a card or a new card, or want to go to the shop, or recharge one of your lives. Yeah, I think it works really well to just design your deck. A card basically just means I think we're gonna we had the name for them was Blueprint in the beginning, and I think we're gonna rename them that again because I think it is a bit clearer of what they actually do, because they allow you to build one more building. Each card stands for one building. A lot of them are factories, so those factories allow you to build units. But some of them are things like a spy tower that allows you to scan somewhere on the map, or a healing building, or super weapons like in Command & Conquer, like a missile artillery that you can use to shoot anywhere on the map, stuff like that. And the really neat thing, I think, is that basically the way that you build up your deck, you can kind of tailor the deck to match a playstyle that you like in RTS games, because you can play RTS games very, very differently, right? You can turtle like crazy, like yeah, exactly, or you can go heavy into rushing, or very economy focused, and all these kinds of things. And basically, what we try to do is we always think about, okay, how can we kind of take this playstyle and allow people to push it to crazy extremes the longer they build up their deck. So that in the end you can I'm sure there will be ways to just win by, I don't know, maybe having such a strong economy that you can buy the enemies units or something crazy like that. But so there will be super crazy overpowered stuff, but I want it to be like you have to be very clever with what cards you pick to get to this overpowered level. And then also on the other hand, there's of course RTS gameplay is very complex, right? You have to keep track of a lot of things. So that's something that we're also very aware of, and try to kind of find ways to make it more approachable for people. So for example, we have just at any time you can press spacebar, and then the game slows down to 10% time, which I think is really neat, because that it just allows you to kind of take a deep breath, look around, maybe go back to your base, build up another factory, construct some units, and I think that way kind of, but the game keeps going, so it doesn't feel like a pause and like this giving orders in pause mode. So it still feels like the action is continuing. So I really, really like that. And also the way that you build up your deck means that in the beginning, it's not very complex what you have to do. You only have like a couple of buildings that you can construct. But the further you get into the game, so the better you get at the game, the more complex the things that you can and have to do get with the deck, right? So because you kind of have to think, I have to construct this upgrade building here, so my units get the more HP, because if they don't, then I can't use the skill, because that relies on them having more skills and these kind of things. And it kind of it can cascade into crazy complex direction, and I really, really enjoy that. And what I really love is that even to this day, when I play the demo, pretty often it happens that I find some new way that something interacts with each other that I didn't think of before. And sometimes they're too broken and I'm thinking like, okay, maybe we have to do something about this. But most of the time, if it's a very special circumstance, then I think that's fine, right? I think it's also because again, it can be we can do very specific things with the enemies. Because it's very clear, hey, this is a single player game, so the enemies can be very different from the things that you do. So some of them might be really easy if you go with a certain deck, but might be really hard if you go with a different deck. And then you kind of have this challenge of, okay, how can I figure this out? How can I beat this guy? Even though, like, for example, there's one in the demo that kind of has these suicide bikes that run into you and just explode, and they're pretty big AoE. So if you have a very squishy Zerg Rush type deck, then that is kind of challenging, or especially if it's a melee squishy deck, then that's even more challenging. So then it becomes kind of a challenge. Okay, what can I do on the different access that the games offers me to kind of conquer that challenge.
Since you're talking about different decks and whatnot, how is the player's approach when you start? As you said, you start very simple at the beginning and then build up your deck. Once you lose, do you start from scratch from the beginning and start simple and then try out different branches? So there's so it's kind of a building up your deck as you progress. It's not necessarily of unlocking certain cards that you can then build into your base deck and with that go into the final. I see.
Basically, the metagame is really, really similar to something like Slay the Spire, right? Like this type of roguelike that has been done a lot now. It wasn't at the time we started the project. There were way fewer of them, and we felt way more original. But yeah, it's such a great. I think there's a really good reason for that, because it just works extremely well for a lot of different kinds of games, I think, and it really adds some unique challenges for the player that are really fun, and also kind of ramp up this. You have this ramp in tension over a run and the complexity as well.
We just had an D&D RPG like game where it was played out with cards. So yeah, definitely.
But the core gameplay is straight up just an RTS. If you've played StarCraft, if you played Command & Conquer, or Age of Empires, one of the classic games where you construct a base, you collect resources, it's that kind of game. But the way that you I think it's a bit like, maybe a metaphor would be the way that a tech tree works in a real-time strategy game. That is kind of put out into the meta game, right? Into the meta structure, because that happens between the levels. And then in the level, it's more about, okay, how can I, in which order do I need to build up the things that I have in my deck to kind of make use of them in the right way.
Okay, so to play out the cards in the right way that they synergize and you get the bonuses, what they do.
It's build your buildings, right? Because they're not, you don't play cards. You collect resources, you build them. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, but I think we need to change the name.
Maybe. Apparently, there's also some crazy stuff going on. We have somebody here called Silver who made an workers only run.
Yeah. So Silver has been part of our Discord for a while now, and he's basically our go-to guy to find the craziest possible glitches and variations of the game. Like,
so it's your bug
he
finder.
played the game for he's been super great in finding bugs as well. And yeah, he did some crazy stuff. Like, he did a worker only run, which I did not think was possible at all, and he found a way to make it work. He did some speed runs where he actually managed to beat the demo in under 7 minutes. I usually need to around between 45 minutes and an hour to finish a demo run when I win. So yeah, it's been really cool to see that.
I'm excited to hop in and have a look at it. Normally in deck builders and stuff like that, you have different like classes or starting personalities. Is the same thing happening here? Do you like different engineers or different builders, or how do you call them?
Sure.
Rogue commanders. Let's call them rogue commanders.
No, our main character is called the engineer, that little robot guy that's also on our key art and stuff. If we don't know yet if there will be multiple of him, but I think we will definitely try that out. That is also, we call it demo lab, because our intention is to really try out different stuff in there. We want to kind of maybe sometimes break it for a week in some crazy way, like, I don't know, half the move speed of everything and see how it feels, does the game feel if you do that, because in certain ways that has advantages and in certain ways it has disadvantages. I think it'll stay very interesting to check out the demo lab for a while. We've been kind of busy with marketing stuff and events and stuff, so there were fewer updates than I would have hoped at this point, but we have a lot of stuff in our backhand that we're really crazy, really excited to share.
And I'm excited, for example, to see them.
Yeah.
For example,
one thing that I think is really important is we want to have unlockable difficulty levels, because in RTS games, it's the skill gap is gigantic, right? There's the skill gap between someone who has never played an RTS and between someone who's like a super grandmaster in StarCraft is way bigger than in a lot of other genres. So I think finding the right balance there that works finding a balance that is not boring for someone is really great, but doesn't completely overwhelm somebody who's never played an RTS is very challenging. So I think that is also something where I think surprisingly that roguelike structure works really well, because having we plan to do kind of an ascension system like Slay the Spire has, so that you can unlock ascension levels, or basically every time you beat the game, you unlock another. You can basically choose to play it on the next ascension level, and that will add modifiers to the enemy. For example, they will have more health, or I don't know. I don't have great examples of it, but there's I
get the idea.
It does some crazy modifiers on the enemies, and that way it just gets harder and harder and harder. And my plan is to find a way to kind of make it really quick for people who are really good at the game to progress quicker through that than people who struggle with it, so that we kind of can use that metagame structure, that progression structure, to get people into kind of the difficulty sweet spot for them. But yeah, that'll be super interesting. I think that is probably one of the biggest challenges, is the difficulty balancing for a game like this.
That's quite a good idea to implement a system that kind of complements the skill level of the players playing. So if you're a beginner and you maintain your bubble of comfort, where you just like try and fail an arrow and try again until you beat that bubble of comfort and become better as you progress and play, of course, because everybody's like muscle memory. You will know what button does what shortcut does what, and your skill will increase, and with that also the difficulty spike will increase. And for those who are like playing the game with only the keyboard without the mouse, because they're like just hammering all the shortcuts like crazy machines on him, that there's also the spike growing up very highly and then meets up their challenge level at some nearby point. That is a very, very cool idea.
I mean, that is something that is very, like, a lot of roguelikes do that. That's not something that we came up with, but I think it's kind of what I really like is having a way to kind of accelerate that for people to kind of get to a sweet spot there, right? Yeah. Sorry, but you mentioned factions also. I think that's something.
Yeah, I think
there will be
factions.
different characters.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I said we don't know if there will be different engineers, but we will definitely. So in the demo right now, there's only robos, but we will have at least I think 4 factions in the game. Probably 2 for early access will be done, and then we will add at least 2 other ones while we are in early access. And the idea is then that you can, for a run, you can combine 2 of them, which is something that we kind of stole from Monster Train, which I think will also work really nicely with our game, because it kind of allows you, if you have kind of like a primary faction and a secondary faction, and that will determine a little bit of what kind of stuff you get from each faction. So this way, it will actually feel different if you do like a tank robo deck or a robo tank deck. That will kind of open up another avenue of synergies that you can also discover. I mean,
playing around with cards, systematics and systems, I think the most important fun for replayability and having fun is to, create ways of creating synergies where you're just like, oh, this plays well together with this, and then I can create this, and then that happens. And that's amazing. Makana asks, are all enemy races going to be playable, or will those be, always be separate?
So the enemies, as far as we have it planned right now, are just a different group, basically. There are some units that they also have and that you also have, but in general, in the beginning, the idea was to have them use all the same stuff. But I think we can do way more interesting things if we design very specific enemies that have a very specific identity, or an idea that I definitely want to try out is that certain units will tend to do certain behaviors that you then can learn. So, for example, there might be some enemy units that if you discover them, they will start to hunt your engineer. So you have to play very differently if you encounter these units than you would otherwise. And I think that just doesn't really make sense for to have these kinds of units as playable units as well, because just determining a behavior in a way is not something that works.
Makes sense. And since you mentioned the factions, I guess we can also expect then them to look differently and have maybe different focuses on, I don't know, stats. Maybe they're like super fast or they're like super slow, but they're for tanky and stuff like that. Interesting.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, definitely. The idea is to have them feel very differently. That is the plan. The other factions, except for the robots, are not quite as done as the robots are. So I don't know. I can't say with 100% certainty that this will all work out exactly as planned. But that is the idea. Like for example, the tanks will make sense, but the idea is that you will build fewer of them and they will be pretty expensive and you will have to try to keep them alive. Whereas with the robos, there's actually decks that you can do where it's really good if your stuff dies, because kind of death is kind of a resource. And they drop these little robocores that you then can use to generate income, or to blow them up like a remote charge, or to blow them up and stun the enemies that stand around them, or because there's lots of interesting things that you can do then. And this is one of the core mechanics of the robots, is that they drop these cores, which we will see in a bit. And and we will have kind of these core mechanics, at least I think 2-ish per faction, that will kind of be, there will be one very distinct thing and then one that might be a bit open to the other factions as well, so that it's a bit more modular basically for them, that you can attach other deck ideas onto them as well.
I am excited now to just hop into the game, to be honest.
Yeah, let's
eager to do that. But before we do that, I have this last question for my developers when I talk to them. Is first of all, where came the inspiration of the design of Rogue Command? Why did you went for like this robot? I don't know. I get some Wall-E moments there when I see the engineer flying around. He reminds me of Wall-E for some reason. And where comes the design idea from? The inspiration, and what is the...
You mean like an optical design or a game design?
Optical design.
Okay.
And what is the most exciting or most proud thing that you have created in Rogue Commander so far, from your side?
So the idea for the engineer basically came... we were talking about that. We felt like it was a bit hard to identify with the game, because there was no one unit that was kind of special or distinct from other ones. And I'm not a huge fan of hero RTS games like Warcraft. That is not something that I always prefer the more classical style more. But yeah, so then we kind of had some talks with some people, like my sister-in-law. We asked her a bit about like some world building stuff that we wanted to talk about. And she had this idea that maybe we should try to find a main character, maybe something that you can identify a bit more. And then I just sat down in my modeling program, and basically I think within 15 minutes or something, I just put together this engineer character, and really liked it because it's very simple and very recognizable, therefore. And then yeah, that was basically it. And then later people said, "Oh, that looks a lot like Wall-E," and I was, "Oh, you're right, that does look a lot like Wall-E," but that was definitely not my plan. It was just really I just tried to come up with something that looked a bit cute, but also would make sense in the context of like this robo military situation that we find ourselves in the game.
Okay, now I'm completely hooked. Let's pause here the tunes. Let's bring up the game. Chad already said that the music of the game is a banger and amazing.
I don't know if banger is the right word, at least not in the first couple levels, because it's very chill. But amazing I take, because it's I make all the music, so I'm happy to hear that, of course.
Oh, I see. So let me just bring my table here down to get ready for RTS action. Silver asks, will the faction share units be in between? Like, will there be a base unit that every faction will have?
I don't think so. I think that so for now the idea is that they will be completely unique. Like in that sense it's more like deck builder logic, right? You have certain colors and they have certain cards. We might come to a point if for some I don't have any idea what that could be, but if we notice there's a problem, that could be solved by having kind of neutral cards or something, then I'm definitely not opposed to doing that. But yeah, it's not planned.
I see. So what do we see here? You say here you choose your startup. So basically you choose your base card hand that you want to have before you start into the first mission.
Exactly.
Are the maps completely randomly generated?
Yes, the maps are completely randomly generated.
Yes.
Yeah.
So we have over here this launch.
Yeah. So now we choose our first card. There's a bit of a limited set of starters because some of the units that you can get don't really make sense as a starting unit, but yeah. So now you basically, similar to Slay the Spire, you have to decide now what you want to choose. If there's something underlined, then there's a tooltip associated with it. So if you want to find out what something does, then you can just hover over it.
Trigger by hotkeys. They throw grenades. The radius is of 1 cell. And take 21% more damage. Drops crystal when they die. What does the bounty mechanic do?
What it says there. Basically, if something gets affected by bounty, then it will take more damage. And if you kill it
because it's
while
a
it has
marked
bounty,
grenade.
Yeah, exactly. So it doesn't do damage, that grenade. It just marks the enemy to be hit harder.
Adamo asks, is there anything like a random mutator effect that changes the missions and spice up the game?
There's nothing like that in yet, but it's definitely something. Sorry, it's definitely something that we have planned, because basically the whole way that we build the game is kind of made for that kind of stuff, and I'm super eager to try out that kind of stuff. And I also have some ideas about kind of doing like maybe daily challenges or weekly challenges type of stuff, and go really crazy with some modificators there. But yeah, we'll see.
So I just picked the stronger marks since we have the mark grenades guys, so to amplify their ability. And over here we have choose an upgrade. Improves the cards for the rest of the run. So Death, there's a 50% chance that bombs creepers. Ooh, okay. When a unit has an active rush cooldown, attack cooldown reduces by 20%. Or increase the radius of skills and attacks. Bigger radius for grenades sounds good. Let's grab that.
Yeah, that's a nice. It's. I think going for a bounty build is a very solid, reliable way to kind of get into how the game works, because there's a lot of stuff in the demo that kind of works with that, and it's kind of nice to and pretty clear to understand what's going on there.
So, the crystal miner. While I will work around here, I will let you do the talking, because RTSs are very challenging to keep up talking and rush.
Yeah, I'm very
what
aware
did these do?
If you want to know, then you can just always look at your deck in the top left, or just hover over it.
Rush Robo Beacon.
That is one of the standard cards that you get with the Robo deck, because that is also like having. It's a bit similar to the Zerg Creep in StarCraft, because it enhances the move speed. So you kind of try to build a path of those things towards the enemy base. And then later on, with some upgrades or some hacks, you might find things that do some crazy stuff when, for example, an enemy gets in range of those things. Or you can spawn them in and they come with some little turrets or something like that. So they are kind of one of the core mechanics of the robos, and so there's a lot of stuff that hooks into them as well. And that also they give rush to your unit, so that is also one of the effects that then kind of might trigger other stuff as well. Like, for example, there's a unit that heals itself when it has rush, or there's units that in the full game, for example, there's a unit that charges up its mana faster while it has rush, that kind of stuff.
Well, we got an upgrade that increases our bounty with while we rushed. So exactly. I saw that they have an ability. Do they automatically trigger their ability, the Robo Marines?
No, it's an active. So you can use if you select them, and maybe then shift select the beacon as well. Just want to show you something. You see down on the bottom there, you now have the Q and W hotkeys. So basically, we always all our hotkeys are QWER. So and they're context sensitive. So you just look down, then you know, okay, this is the skill of this unit here. And also, if you trigger it, then time slows down, so you can aim in peace and quiet, so you don't like do something that you don't want to do. And then the game speeds up again once you've kind of assigned
That's
where the
crazy
skill
good.
is supposed to go.
So these buildings can build a new beacon on their own when they fill up.
Exactly. So you see now that it was glowing like this, and now it stopped, and it doesn't have that ability anymore. So now the new one in the chain only has that. You see how giant your area of effect is because of the upgrade that you get.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
That is crazy good. You guys come in here. Attack them. I love how
the first level is
little explosions are happening as they are dying. Will this go crazier in terms of physics and environments getting destroyed and stuff like that?
Maybe fall back a little bit, and I can show you something. If you press hold on control or trigger an attack move, then you can attack the trees. And also, if fire might be burning, then those trees will catch fire. And if you stand beside those trees when they're burning, then your stuff will start burning. And if you then move to another tree, then that tree might catch fire. And there is in the full game, we don't have that stuff in the demo yet, because there are some things that I still want to polish with that. But I love the spreading fire decks that you can do already. They're completely insane, and they can get out of hand in beautiful ways. I've kind of lost half a base once because I did something a bit not careful. It backfired because I forgot to clear out the trees in my base before, and yeah, it basically burned down half of my base before I was able to stop it.
Hilarious.
Yeah, so in that way, that is something, right? That is a bit of the heritage. That's why I feel not too bad with calling it a roguelike, which I know is kind of a loaded term when you can get into hour-long discussions about genre definitions with that. But I think having this systemic approach, this run-based approach, where you kind of construct a build over time, that is something that is has a lot of inspiration from that.
And also a lot of replayability, especially if you played solo and don't want to go on crazy multiplayer tournament kind of things. You just want to, hop in, play for an hour, hop out, and just can experiment with it around it. Will the game itself get some sort of lore or story bits that you can unravel as you progress in the combats and in the builds and
yes,
in this roguelike parts? Because I see over here this little ship with the little engineer. Scanning the worlds. Very artsy.
Exactly. Yeah. I have like in my head. There's basically a kind of like a small book already with what's actually going on in the world, and basically nothing of that is in the game. I definitely plan to find ways to kind of. I don't want any cutscenes or that kind of stuff. I don't want like a story mode per se, but maybe there will be some hints and some tooltips, or you might find some ruins of something, or you might find some weird character somewhere that kind of gives you a hint as to what's actually going on in the world of Rogue Command.
Wait, what was that? 50% critical hits against cards with bounty, 2 times the damage against cards with bounty. Oh my goodness, that can proc crazy. Okay. That time slowdown is a nice touch, says Streamfleet. Yeah. It plays really nice. Do I want another card or do I want a hack? What do you recommend?
Just do what you're into. Maybe decide by what comes after that, because you can go for start crystals, which kind of makes the beginning of the level a bit quicker, or you can get another upgrade. So let's grab the upgrade. By that. All right. So, sorry, it just okay. I can read again. So here we have some new types of buildings that, or sorry, we have seen the small healing spire before. That's kind of that's a simple healing building that you can construct that will heal your units. And then we have the piercing ammo forge, and that is basically a way to upgrade your units while you're in the level. So for every building that you build, all of your friendlies, that means all of your turrets, all of your units, all of your whatever you have going, will do plus 10% damage.
You can build a max of 3 of those.
Exactly. But as you can see to the left of the card, there's these 2 bubbles. You can assign 2 upgrades there, and there's an upgrade that allows you to build an additional one. So in some cases, there's like there's ones that let you build faster, for example, and in some cases you might get close to being able to build some of the really cheap units almost instantly if you have kind of the right combination of upgrades and hacks and that kind of stuff, and that can also lead to some really fun Zerg rush like mayhem.
I see. Oh, shots can cast bounty on them. Oh my goodness. Okay, we got all
wait, but maybe just a recommendation from my end. The bombing surprise on the micros is also really fun because they die fairly quickly, so that triggers fairly often, and that might help you because you don't have any AoE damage, and that might help you clear some weird or something. But
and I should put them on the micros because they have only 5 health. I see.
Exactly. Yeah. They die like flies.
Good. Beautiful. Good. Another day, another time. Let's see this time what we have.
Yeah, also something that I really like is I talked about our hotkey setup before. I think if you get used to that, it's really nice because if you press tab, then that just selects all factories. So that allows you to macro basically no matter where you are on the map. You don't have to assign them.
Oh, that's nice.
Manually, which of course you can still do, and you can also set all rally points at the same time. And if you press backtick, then you go to the engineer. And just if you double press backtick, so I don't know what it's called in your keyboard, but the one above tab basically selects your engineer. And if you double tap it, then you just go to the engineer, and that way you can also build really quickly.
Oh, I see.
And yeah, so that way I think that works really nice. I know it's always a bit weird when hotkeys do something that's a bit different to what you expect, but I thought that the QWR to trigger stuff is so common now because of the stuff like Dota and League of Legends, or even like the hero shooters and that kind of stuff, that I felt it might be worth the risk of maybe alienating some old school RTS players by trying something new, because I think it works just fantastically well if you get used to it. But super important, we definitely want to have full control customization. And you're attacking your own building there with your workers, by the way.
My bad.
I maybe you found some exploit and didn't tell me about, and we're just trying to to do that, but just thought I'd let you know.
No, I was just trying to attack with the workers, the one guy who came up.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, we just that you're actually that is a Silver, who knows the game basically by heart. Just noticed that there's a new enemy here in the second level, a new variation that we didn't have in before.
Some close contact.
Yeah, I think that's something that we definitely there will also be more content over time for the demo thing. So I think it's if you're interested in the game, it's definitely worth checking back with the demo from time to time. Because there will be some new stuff to discover. And we're definitely gonna test the combining the 2 factions in the demo as well. It will probably be a bit limited, so I don't know in which way yet, but since this is such a core mechanic, I definitely want to get a feeling for how that works with like a larger number of players, like that goes beyond just doing playtest sessions or stuff like that. And also there will be there will be betas that you can sign up for the full game. If you're interested in that, then you should probably check our Discord, because that is
definitely. If you have a link for the Discord, drop it in the chat right now.
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so the big thing is slowing down my enemies, and it hits pretty nastily. I think next would be also cool at building to have that heals my units. And also, let's build this marker guy. But we want more harvesters. Now let's actually build the first ammo deposit. There we go. Let's expand down here. So why are these shining golden? It's some electronic damage. Do they do something when you destroy the bushes that are kind of sparkling?
Who knows? Yeah, definitely.
Oh.
But you should probably not stand close to it when you do that, when you try that.
So
yeah, they have they trigger a pretty big and pretty long area of effect stun for everything that's closer when they break. So there's a lot of things. I try to basically find designs that kind of give a bit of a hint as to what's going to happen when you destroy something. So yeah, that's also in general something that we try to kind of make happen, right? So it makes sense that fire spreads among trees and that kind of stuff. And yeah, also if you see this little rock up there that looks a bit suspicious, yeah, maybe if you destroy that, then that might also be something worth giving a shot.
Okay, you go over here and destroy that. We are nearly having enough for another fabric. Come on, there we go. So I love that it's quite fast, just coal down orbital building, so to say.
Yeah. And also all buildings come with one unit pre-built, basically.
Yeah, I've noticed so that we got a marine right away as we build it.
Yeah. I think that is, those are kind of like these little touches that I try to soften the blow a bit if you have to replay the game. So I try to find ways to kind of make the pace a bit quicker of the game. So that, because it's a roguelike, and then probably, if you're not the best player in the world, then you probably need a couple of tries until you finish a run of the full game. At least I think the demo we actually have a balancing now that I think is fairly easy for me at least. But yeah, like I said, we're experimenting with that a bit. I just retuned it a bit a couple of days ago to be a bit easier, because I saw a couple of playtests and a couple of streams where people really struggled with some stuff that I didn't want them to struggle with yet. So yeah.
Yes. Welcome in, that Veskan. A little bit late, but whatever. Don't worry about it. There's no such time as late. Also, to the chat, if you have any questions over here to Mario, feel free to ask. This is your time and chance to have a direct live Q&A with him. Yeah, I just love this sound design of these explosions that is going on, how they shoot, how the whole maneuverability feels. There we go, 50 coins, 2 victories in, many more to go.
That has been something that we try to put a lot of care into to make it. I think it has to feel right. That is basically the most important thing, and yeah, the feedback on that has been really, really great. Yes, Veskan, yes, I did. I think I'm not sure if it's in this version yet, or if it came a bit too late. But yes, yeah, for sure. Because because I thought it was a different sound that was too loud. Basically, if you buy something here, then that triggers the sound that we forgot to assign a channel to. So even if you turn down the game volume, then it would just be still really, really loud. And I felt really stupid when I figured out what was going on, because I thought it was a different sound than what it actually was.
That sounds really good now that we just got turrets to the rush beacons.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's I really like that as well. It really eases some pain in the beginning.
Ooh, cheaper constructions. Right. Or even more bigger radius.
Yeah, I mean, we could do that. Basket says their ears were cowering in fear whenever they were in the shop. Yeah, yeah, definitely. It was also something when I would watch a stream or YouTube video of someone playing the game, and I would see them tuning the audio in the beginning, and then they get into the shop, and there's suddenly like this hugely loud noise. I was like, no. I still haven't found it because I tried several times to fix it, and I just was looking at the wrong place. So yeah. So would you assign this to the factory, just to be right, because construction is factory, and there's also production upgrade, but that then makes the units cheaper. I think I'm gonna change the phrasing on that a bit, so I actually have a title card for that already, to change it into construction of the building, so it's clear what's going on. That's been so much more challenging than I anticipated, like just getting the phrasing right in a way so people understand what's actually supposed to happen.
Of course, because really, text is always interpretable, and sometimes you mean something, but they don't get what you mean, and stuff like that. So, spam working robots. Actually, the place where I put it was not that clever. You guys come down here.
But you see exactly. That's kind of a way that you can kind of speed up the start of a level as well.
Ooh, hello there. Crystal.
Yeah, it's been so much fun getting into sound design with this game, because that's not something that I really did before. Like, I've been making music for a long time, but designing like these chunky little pieces of sound that are meant to invoke like a certain feeling or like punctuate a certain moment has been a really cool new challenge, and I really enjoy that. It's so much fun to just kind of find a couple of samples and just cut them together in certain ways, and then use some effects on them and stuff. I love that stuff, and it's so cool because it's a lot of fun kind of having all that that whole workflow from designing the model to designing the game design for a unit, basically, to then making also the sounds and all that. Just doing all that myself has been really cool and really fun. But yeah.
Was it difficult to come up with the, oh my goodness, bombers? Was it difficult to come up with a sounds panel or design? Let's call it design.
No, actually not. For me, that is kind of that's not something that I knew was a skill. Is that for me, when I see something, it's really clear to me how it's supposed to sound, basically.
Okay.
And I noticed in talking with some other people since we started the project that that's not something that everybody kind of has. So it's been that way. It's been really fun and really cool for me, because I already have that skill set, right? I know how to look for samples, how to process them, how to kind of cut them in a way that makes sense for them.
How long did you say is the game in development already?
3 years.
3 years. It feels so good. It feels so smooth.
Thank you. Yeah. I'm super proud of that, and that is the reason that it feels so good, and it plays so well, and also it's I think really stable and really polished for a pre-early access demo, and that is simply because Martin is just an absolutely fantastic programmer, and he's also super involved in the game design, of course. Like, this game is something that is this game could not be made by anybody but us two in that specific way, I think, because there are so many things where kind of we figured out over time, man, we really need this specific thing for the game, but I don't like doing that certain part of what we would have to do to do that. And then very often it's like, you know, it's like a 3-step process that you have to do. And then step 1 is something that I really enjoy, but Martin hates. And step 2 is something that Martin really enjoys, but I hate. And then the last one is me again, or something that has happened so many times. Because and that's been just it's been so cool, and we've gained a lot of trust over time to kind of be very open and honest with just telling each other, look, I really don't want to do this. Can we just find another way to do that? Or maybe do you want to have a crack at this? And then we usually come up with a way that we can make it work. And it's been by far the most fun that I've had professionally, definitely working on this. And I really love working as a 2-man team also. I think that there's a very unique quality that a duo has, because all the communication...
It's a little bit of a rubber bonding between you guys. Like, you guys communicate between each other. The communication is probably super fast.
Yeah, and you never have to update anyone else, right? You never have to kind of think, oh, did I talk to X about that already? And then you kind of want to make a decision, and then it's, oh, we really should include the third or fifth or
person
150th person into that. And that makes everything so much more complicated. And like, we both have kids, we both have families, and that way just we can spend all our time like really making stuff that kind of either brings the game forward or brings the kind of the presentation of the game or the marketing of the game forward in some ways. And that's been extremely fun to work on that.
Oh, it feels so satisfying when they start shooting like a crazy rush mob.
Yeah.
So we're building another refinery over here to speed this up even further. Not enough crystals. We're gonna have crystals soon. There we go. Now the production is booming. So place that over there. So in a way, with this beacon and respawn, you can start to build like a defensive line with those turrets. Interesting,
yeah, exactly.
Interesting mechanic. Let's wait for the 300. So we have another forge that gives us plus 30 in total. Oh shit. Streamfleet asks, does the dev team stream working on the game on Twitch?
I have done that a couple of times, but not really regularly. I'm definitely open to it. If people are interested, I really enjoyed kind of recording, because we were part of the Tokyo Game Show just last week, and now Tacticon, so I had to record a bunch of runs for kind of letting a stream run or on a Steam page and that kind of stuff. And in general, I really like streaming. Like, it's something that I had a lot of fun with. So I don't know, if people are interested, I definitely give it a go again.
Definitely make some I don't know, special days.
Just if you have those kind of questions, or if you want to kind of nudge me to do something, just feel super free to hop on our Discord. I'm like, at the same time, I'm super clear. Like, it's very clear to us what this game should be and where it's supposed to go. But at the same time, I'm also very open to feedback. Right? If somebody has an idea and it's better or it makes more sense in some way, then there's no, like, I'm not too proud to admit that, basically, and I'm really happy. I really enjoy that. Like, it's been so much fun, like, getting some people in the chat and then kind of seeing them discuss a certain topic, seeing them discuss a certain unit, and then I kind of chime in and say, hey, maybe if we do this, would that also fix that? And then they say, yeah or no for that reason, and then I really that is one of my favorite things about working on this game, is kind of having these interactions with people who are, like, it's so great to see people just love the thing that you're working on. And that has kind of been better than I expected, for sure, because, like I said, this is our first game, so I'm really happy with the positive reaction overall.
I can only imagine how great it feels when your baby, so to say, plays out well and everybody's enjoying it.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, how crazy can you get in terms of, like, size?
So there's a hard cap of 100 units. as you can
Oh,
see.
I see it up there.
Right. Yeah, exactly. That has felt pretty good to me so far. Again, if we run into some problems some way or another, that might change. But as you also see, there's a timer, and that really isn't like super necessary in a lot of ways. But I don't want people, since it's a roguelike and you have to often play multiple runs to kind of get to where you try to achieve the goal that you want to achieve. I don't want people to play too scared or too turtley, so I'm kind of try to find ways to kind of force them a bit to play a bit more aggressively, because I think that is also in the end a bit more fun than just hang back too much. Although like I said in the beginning, I also want to find ways where hanging back is good, but then I also want that, like, it should be an active way of hanging back. It should be a hanging back that gets you towards an actual goal in some way.
Oh, I see the crits hitting.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you could have attacked it a tiny bit earlier. Also, in the demo, the only mission type that we have is basically you have to destroy the enemy base. But that is also... Oh, this is the first time you lost a unit, I think. Because otherwise that tutorial wouldn't have shown up in this moment situation here. So yeah, like I said, we turned down the difficulty a little bit. And I really want to have those unlockable difficulties in the demo as well, and get really crazy and really mean with it, because that has also been really fun, just watching people stream the game and then they get to the level they just were the first time and lose like a huge chunk of units to one of those bombs. It's I can't deny that I really enjoy that.
For those asking where to follow and whatnot, type an exclamation mark title in the game. It will bring up the game itself. Download the demo, try it out. I guess on the Steam page is also the information for all the web pages, Discord, etc. And yeah, also, if you type an exclamation mark YouTube, this video will be later on to rewatch from the beginning if you missed anything. And all the Discord invites and Steam links and etc. will be there as well in the description. So let's grab some more cards here. Man, I'm hooked here.
Ooh, yeah.
What the hell is the Blade Bod? That looks crazy.
So, I think the Blade Bod is my favorite unit at the moment. As the design should hopefully tell you, it does AoE damage. It
just gets super fast the more it kills.
Yeah, exactly. So because it's melee, right? So it kind of, the challenge is you have to get to the enemy before it gets shot down. So the more enemies it has killed, then it can rank up. You can see here the rank up is also kind of a mechanic. The bounty bot to the in the middle also has that. And then again, there's certain hacks that might. There's, for example, a hack that gives like I think it's a 20% chance if a unit ranks up that it just ranks up again. There's a hack that is not yet in the demo that heals units when they rank up. So again, we always try to find ways to kind of make these mechanics hook into other mechanics. So because then if a unit heals when it ranks up, there is also stuff that happens when something gets healed. So for example, we have a hack that spawns like little spider robots. There's a chance to spawn them when a unit of yours get healed. So that counts for any kind of heal. So if a unit has vampirism, that counts. Or if a unit gets healed by a global healing building or by a tree that might have green glittery glowy stuff around it, that all counts, right? So all those systems are, if you've learned how a system works, then that counts for, oh, that's good. Yeah, that's perfect.
Making the rules even bigger of them.
Yeah.
I can't wait to see them in action.
I love the Blade Bot, man. I think it's so fun to see in attack.
Heal bots might be a thing. Yeah, let's grab some heal bots.
Yeah, I think they might be maybe the most. I think some people in our Discord have said that it's maybe the most overpowered unit in the game at the moment. So I think I might unfortunately have to find a way to tune that down. Yeah, that's what Silver said here. Because they can, if you saw those robocores that drop when a unit dies, right? So what they can do is they can eat those to charge up their mana, and they need mana to heal. So that way, if you have a build where you send in those micros to the front, then you can eat the cores with the medics, and that way you can heal a lot more HP as if you only have tanky units, right? So that is always also something that I try to, or maybe that's something that I didn't talk about before. The way that you can build up a deck in an RTS is a bit
Be the game with
different.
medics.
Yeah, but because also the synergy might also be something like, oh, I only have melee units, so having a sniper behind them might be good, right? Because that is also a way that you can have a synergy in kind of that is more on the tactical level of how you use your stuff. And in that way, I think there's still, like, it's so interesting, even for me, like every time I play the game, although the demo, I've put so many hours into the demo that it's rarer now. But when I play the full version, it's rare that I don't have a run where I discover some new way where I think, oh right, if I have this in the back, and then because now I have this upgrade on this unit here, then I get this beneficial combo going or something. Yeah. So I think that is a really fun other dimension basically of the deck building, and I think that is really cool because there's so many ways in this game where you can kind of learn to get better in very different ways. So you might be able to beat the game if you're really good at deck building but not a great RTS player, or you might be completely build the most idiotic deck that has no synergies at all, but if you're a great RTS player, then you still might be able to succeed to a certain point. And then my goal is for the really higher difficulty levels later that you can unlock, that you have to kind of do both right, that you have to build a good deck and also play the game right to be able to succeed. But yeah, I think up until like the medium essentials, probably if you get better, as long as you keep learning at one aspect of the game, then you might that you should be able like to get further and further into it.
I'm hooked. I'm sold here. I love the energy. I love the music. I love the mechanics that they play along. How quickly and fast-paced it's playing itself. I'm just trying to get my hands in a way used to all these shortcuts, because I'm used normally to move around with VSW. But now
that was one of the last Steam forum entries that we got, was someone really angry telling us that it's wrong that you don't move the camera with WASD. And they did just like in all caps, God damn it, fix this. Yeah, I told them, look, I'm sorry, I think in general in RTS games that is not the standard, but also there will be full customization of controls in the future, so you can reassign buttons to your heart's desire. Also, I played the game a bunch on my Steam Deck already, and I really think that we can, and it's really cool because on the Steam Deck you can do very elaborate custom button prompts and layouts and that kind of stuff. So it was a really cool way to experiment with getting the game actually playable on a controller, and I think we actually have a chance to do that, to do a version of the game, or not a different version, but just a control layout basically that works well with the controller, which I think is really cool for an RTS, because there's not a lot of them that actually can do that. Yeah.
That is true.
Also, don't forget that you have the time slow, right? If you want to do something, you can just press spacebar and then you can.
Oh, okay.
You can be a little bit more relaxed if you want to.
No. I like to be stressed.
Yeah, me too. I don't think. Although I don't like it, but I think you have to have a certain stress resistance to be able to be an indie game developer that does everything themselves.
There we go. I should use those grenades way more often.
Yeah, definitely. They make a huge difference. But you seem to have a really nice, lucky map here where they have to kind of come through this tight spot there.
That's why I'm like planting them left and right.
Yeah.
Core charge. Interesting.
Yeah, so that's what I mentioned earlier, right? If you lose a unit, and then you can eat the cores that they drop to recharge.
So let's bring out these fun people that we saw.
Yeah, one of my favorite things is also like there's a way to basically
fast.
do like he's with the rush he's pretty fast, and I love these guys. I was so happy when I got them implemented and saw them attacking for the first time, because I think it looks kind of dumb in areas, but in a really fun way that is really satisfying as well.
Sima asked if there will be also air units, since he sees this.
Yeah, I also just saw that. Yeah, so the honest question is, I don't know. I would absolutely love to do it, but there are certain problems with the way that the game is a roguelike, and we don't, since, usually in an RTS you have a fixed tech tree, so we know, hey, the player is able to build, I don't know, in Instructor, for example, the Terran is always able to build Marines to be able to deal with air attacks. But here we don't know what kind of deck you will have. So, or also we don't know what kind of enemy you'll encounter. So making that all work with air, I haven't really come up with a solution that has been really satisfying. What I definitely want to have, there will definitely be mobility skills and kind of things that allow you to kind of move stuff around in different ways than just walking or driving from A to B. But yeah, I don't know if we can make air work. I think maybe if you remember the way that air works in Command and Conquer, where you have like these units that are usually parked on an air base somewhere, that might work maybe, but it's still, that only alleviates the problem a bit. So yeah, I don't know if anybody has an idea of how to make it work, I would love to do it, because actually I think the easiest thing for me to design is actually like little spaceships and hovercraft and that kind of thing. So my heart bleeds every time that I remember that I can't do it. As you can see here, the enemies here, I love these little speeders there.
Remind me a little bit of Eldars from Warhammer 40k.
I'm unfortunately completely unfamiliar with. I've never gotten around to do anything Warhammer related. I have Total War Warhammer 3 installed, and I booted it up, and then it started the tutorial, and I was like, I'm sorry, I can't do that right now. It's too. I don't have the time to dive into that. But yeah.
Totally fine.
Yeah, we'll see. Something like dropship, something like that. I don't know. It's. Maybe we'll just, a way to solve it would be to basically have some default units that the enemy always has, or some default turrets that the enemies always has. But I think that would make it a bit like, that has a pretty big downside in my eyes, because then you would have to limit the way that you can design the enemies to where they always have to have X. And I don't think if that is worth the trade-off having air units in the game. So in my eyes so far, I always came to the conclusion that it's probably not.
I would say also no to that.
Thank you. Because really, that weighs heavily on my soul that we don't have.
Well, that's white and shiny. Okay, it's not shining anymore.
Yeah.
So,
oh yeah, also, status effect. Also, same rules for the environment as for you. So if you give a rock bounty, then it will drop crystals and it will take more damage. So same rules for everything in the game.
Oh.
Yeah. And also, yeah, you can apply bounty to yourself, which if you play a deck where you, for example, there's a robo bomb, which is similar to the units the enemy units that you encountered in the last level that kind of run into the enemy and explode. So if you give them bounty shortly before they explode, they also drop crystals. So there's way that you can get really good at like these minutiae of micro that can give you an advantage. But yeah, but you don't have to get into the game, I think. But there's always something else to discover, always something else that you can kind of get better at, or a new combo that you might discover. So yeah. I don't know.
Like
maybe you can tell I'm a huge fan of our game. I don't want to sound like I'm bragging.
That's how it should be. I mean, you're working on it. Of course, you have to be the biggest fan of it. Oh my goodness, they're getting now ridiculous with their rank up and their AoE.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you should be.
Rocks are friendlies. Let's go rush. Oh, I love the voice acting on that robot.
That's me. All the voices in the game
minutes.
are me. All the robots, everything, that's just me with some heavy processing done.
Let's get going.
Oh yeah, that's true. Also, since I said, you know, all the runes are the same for the environmental objects, so killing rocks with blade bots gives them a kill, so that makes them rank up. So that's definitely also something that you can kind of optimize here, is that you only destroy the environmental objects with your blade bots so that they get their rank from it.
There we go. The blade bots are hilarious. Oh, I love the destruction.
Yeah, Streamfleet just set the unit delivery point, so the ready point that you can set from the factories would just move along with the army. I really like that idea as well. I haven't found the perfect solution for that yet, but it's definitely something that I want to try to make happen, because I also think that because often you don't have like your army split up in several groups or something, and then it just makes sense to have them follow the factories follow the army.
That's true. That's true. More mana. Boost the damage. Oh yes. That's a higher.
Yeah, I think in that case that's kind of an easy call here.
Oh my goodness, this will be crazy. We have here stronger heals. Heal effects from all sources heal. Turns Robo Rush beacons into refineries. What?
Oh yeah. Yeah. So that means that your harvesters can now drop off their stuff at the at those guys.
Okay, I'll take that. And the new card.
That is a little less meaningful because in the demo the crystal fields don't really run out, because we want to rework that system a bit so that you can click on the crystals to see how much is left in them, which I think is really important. That's a bit of a, like, those crystals are still basically the same. They are one of the very first things that we implemented, and we're gonna rework them soon, and then it will be a bit of a smoother experience. And then you will also be there might be some maps where crystals run out really quickly, or where you might have to do stuff to get, like, unlock new crystal fields or grow them in some way or something. Okay. On those maps, of course, it will be a lot more valuable to have that hack where the rush beacons are refineries, because you kind of need to be a bit more spread out than you are right now. But yeah, I love thinking about, like, how can we make the maps factor into the gameplay a bit more in different ways, and just hooking that into some kind of the systems that we have. In some
if the map is great and plays along, if the map randomness is created in a cool way, that every time it plays different, unique, you never know what awaits you after the next corner and stuff like that.
Yeah, exactly.
That is freaking fantastic.
And we still there's some stuff that we still want to improve with the maps, but I think, like, in general, we always try to get things to a point where they're, like, working well enough so that where it's basically proven that this was the right way to go, and then we tackle another part of the game and bring that to the same level. So because it's so complex, that it's really important to not kind of go crazy and try to polish one thing to 100%, and then you build something else and you notice, oh crap, that doesn't fit together in the way that we expected, and then you have to kind of rework something that you put it into a lot of time already.
Golden stones.
Maybe don't stand too close to them when you shoot them.
Oh.
I've lost armies this way. I'm speaking from experience. They're kind of like our exploding barrels here.
I'm curious now. Oh!
Yeah.
And the bigger one makes an even bigger boom?
Yep. And so, you don't want to stand beside that, but maybe sometimes, if you time your encounter right, and if you get the enemy to engage you in a certain position, then it might be good to shoot those things.
That's freaking hilarious. So we want a Robo Rush beacon down there, but we want also the refinery to be full capacity. I should have done that first. So I'm still a little rusty on my RTS skills. Let's bring you down here.
Very fine though.
You're coming up there. They're starting to create MP. Good.
Yeah, or another thing that I find really interesting that I want to try out is because I saw you're not really scouting right now.
No.
Which is also something that I tend to forget. Like I'm not dissing you at all, but I think it might be really interesting to have like mechanics that kind of reward you for scouting well. And that way you kind of might learn that habit, and because scouting is always good, right? It's always good to know how the map is laid out in an RTS. But if you get a deck where you get like a certain very clear advantage when you have like certain parts of the map scouted, or I don't know, if you get like a bonus if you have more than 20%, more than 40, more than 60, more than 80% of the map scouted or something, then that might kind of teach you that habit of scouting, and then you might figure out that, oh, maybe then you kind of learn that, and then that might help you then in other runs as well. I think that we can do some cool stuff where we basically subtly teach players how to play an RTS correctly, or to how to use different play styles in an RTS by kind of encouraging them with the way that they use the upgrades or the hacks or that kind of stuff.
Oh, that would definitely come in handy for my sake, since I'm super duper rusty. Oh, let's try out the new sniper robot that we just got. Did I found any roaches? I have no clue what roaches they're talking about.
Oh, you'll see in a second.
I'll see in a second.
Yeah. I think there's a certain Schadenfreude in the chat here for what's about to come. But yeah.
Let's see. Let's have them hold position. Do they stay? Well, let me check.
They stay stealth because they have rush. So as long as they have rush, they are stealth.
Oh my goodness, that's evil.
Them in range of your rush beacons, they will, and also they have an active skill that just gives them rush, so they can kind of stealth themselves if you overextend them a bit. That's also a unit that people say is broken, and I kind of like how it works though, so maybe I'm just gonna make it more expensive until people say, okay, now it's not broken anymore, because I don't really want to change the mechanics of it, because I think it's really a neat way to also encourage you to build out, again, right? That really encourages you to build out your rush beacon network. And then once you've learned that, then it will be way easier in the next one. Yeah, there we go. That's what they were talking about.
Dragon. Oh, what? Kill it with fire!
No, it kills you with fire.
No, we're gonna kill it.
Yeah. Whew. Yeah. Like I said, I just recently rebalanced the game a bit, so it's a bit easier. I think they had 2 times as much health and did 3 times as much damage, like at the beginning of last week. So
they should explode when they die, like make a big boom.
Yeah. Yeah, they're a bit nerfed. I think I might have overdone it a bit. I basically wanted to see, because I want to have the difficulty stuff that I've been talking about a bunch of times now in the game as soon as possible, and I rather have the game be too easy in the beginning, because there's just so many people who are not really familiar or a bit rusty, you know.
Yeah, I'm super rusty. Like I'm now panic clicking around waiting for those 500 crystals to come, and instead of making those 500 crystals happen in a different way by collecting things, I'm just sitting around here like a bazonkas. Okay, that ended.
You can also shift queue orders. So if you hold down shift and give orders, then you can kind of set up like a chain of orders. That is not visualized yet. We're definitely gonna add some way to where you actually see that this is happening, but that is already in the game. And you can also use the the mini map to issue orders as well. So if you just want to, that's something that I often do. Is like I just take a couple of microbots and send them into the different corners of the map, so I kind of get a sense of the layout.
I see.
But yeah, I think you're a sniper. You have an amazing defensive position here with the stealth snipers, because the enemy doesn't even see them here. But yeah. And of course, there will be enemies that have ways to see stealth units. So.
Oh, is that? There's something shiny. Get over here. Grab that shiny.
Oh, he just did an attack move, I think.
Oh, a chest. Hello there.
Yeah. Oh, chests are actually there. That's something that's coming really soon. Chests will get a bit more interesting. Right now, there's only the plus 100 crystal chests. Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there will be different types of chests in probably next week already, because the change that I have to make for that are fairly tiny.
Here.
And yeah, so then finding those chests might be more interesting.
Actually, I have enough fabrics. So... Oh no, wait, the most important ones. Blade runners.
Oh yeah.
Oh, not enough resources.
Don't want to forget about those.
Oh, dare me.
I'm gonna grab a drink for a second. I'll be back. Just 1 minute.
All good. Okay, I should definitely use more of that. Chad, is there a button where I can select all my build units at once? There's the rushers. It's F2. Oh, thank you kindly. Oh. You guys stay here. Thank you. Welcome in, Underlines. Conquest. Nice to have you around. Thanks for having the patience with a very rusty RTS player. Actually, wasn't there? No, there wasn't. Never mind. Let's get the fun started. Wasn't he like able to destroy stones or something like that? Control group. I have to double check because my control button is for some reason zooming in. Not doing what I wanted. Oh no. Be back. Yeah, we get there. It's all right. It's all right. We want another beacon up here.
I muted myself and forgot to unmute.
Welcome back! So let's start a counteroffensive. Apparently I built myself in here. Get over here. I want to build more damage. Everybody go in here. Let's get it going. Oh, back.
Yeah, very nice. Yeah, the blade bots, they can take a bit more damage than the small guys there.
Let's bring everybody in with us. Get the party started.
Yeah, that's also something Conquest just mentioned. Control groups are, of course, a staple of like how you play RTS games, and you can just press control
definitely.
and,
I just don't know why a hotkey for me is when I control numbers. It's
yeah, exactly.
Zooming in for me on the screen. I think there's either a zoom in program running in the background or something like that. But
yeah, but you can also use the button on the right side of the screen, the plus button there. If you have units selected and just click that, then you will assign those to a group, and then you can just click that button again.
I see.
Exactly.
Boop. Nice.
Yeah, and again, that kind of management, like right now, I think you're in a pretty good spot. But even if you're kind of in a pinch, then
you want each unit
no shame
on
in
their own
slowing
number.
down time.
Oh, that you mean? Okay.
Yeah. That's a bit of a mean spot here for walking over a fire.
Oh!
Oh yeah, and now you triggered the stun bush as well. Yeah. Yeah, careful. Your sniper's also not invisible anymore, so they can now be targeted. And they don't, they're not very tanky. Ah, that was good though.
Okay, let's
Did you do that on purpose? Like, did you blow up the rock on purpose?
Yeah.
Is that? Yeah, nice. Good job. I think that's just, it's so satisfying. When that
I love explosions.
Yeah.
So let's bring them back in here. Let's make some trolleys. I'll just click wildly over the range. Give me everything. I love that he actually can dodge that shot of the turret.
Yeah. Yeah, if a shot looks like it can be dodged, then usually it can be.
No. There we go.
Yeah,
away
careful
from the fire.
Don't walk into that. All right.
Okay, next attack.
You can use your go back, fall back, and use your medic skill here, so they can eat the cores that lie around here to recharge their mana. Then you can heal up your army a bit better. Yeah, that makes a big difference. And you can also use the active skill of the snipers when you're in the enemy base, so you can kind of maybe put them somewhere where they can do some damage without being detected for a bit.
That was great. 10 minutes remaining. I can do that. Oh.
Yeah, that also was a fun evening that I had making all these.
I can imagine. I did some voice acting here and then. Very. Like,
oh, you're right. I read that in your bio.
All kinds of like sometimes side characters, sometimes main characters, and it was hilarious for me for Song of Iron. It's a side-scrolling Viking game to have came up with sounds and voices for a goblin faction, and the developer was like, okay, as an inspiration, I would like it to be like the Urukais from Lord of the Rings. I was like, okay. And because it was more of a Nordic inspiration in terms of goblins and not, as we know, the Small little squishy ones. Oh my goodness.
Oh, careful.
The Blade Runners are
this,
triggering everything.
This map here is pretty dense with stuff that can explode. Yeah, you have to be really careful here.
So... Suck up the course.
Maybe we can make you a robot or a tank or something.
Ooh, a tank would be nice.
I don't know. I think your voice sounds more like a tank to me than like a tiny microbot.
Access denied.
I just saw that there was a question in chat if it will be possible, because I said that you can shift queue orders, and they asked if it will be possible to write some kind of command scripts in order to automate unit behavior even further. And no, but what I want to do is have some units that kind of have a skill that just is associated with a careful. It's engineering. That is associated with a certain behavior. So I want to try maybe having kind of like assistance units that, for example, if you build them and they hang around your base, they might just walk around between the factories and just reissue building another unit whenever they're done with one. So you kind of, I think it's kind of a neat idea, because players that are really good, they don't need that. But players that are not that experienced, that might kind of ease some of the multitasking pain that you have in RTS games. Yeah, I don't know. I think that might be a fun thing to just try out, because you kind of you're sacrificing a spot of another where you could get another card. But yeah, so in that way there might be ways where you can have like certain commands. One thing that is more likely is that we're just gonna add a patrol mode, and then this is nasty here.
Run!
What can we do here? How many refiners have you set up? Are you at 3 already?
Refiners 1, 2.
I think you have enough money to build maybe you can build a third one a bit further out towards the enemy.
Is there a way to build that up?
Yeah, you can just build it anywhere, but then they can't move down.
Awesome.
Since as long as it's in range of the engineer, basically you can just since they're just get dropped from orbit.
Makes sense.
There's the limit here. I think that's a nice spot up there.
Yep.
Because then you can also kind of have like a second layer of rush beacons with the turrets, and also that will make your snipers a bit in a better position here. You can just put them on the high ground somewhere or something where they're a bit out of the battle, so they don't get caught in the fire. I think that might be a huge help here.
Okay. Because we lost.
Oh, but it's okay if I'm coaching you here, because
yeah, definitely,
I want
definitely.
to see the last. All right.
The snipers burn. Yeah, they did burn.
Oh yeah, they did.
They did burn very, very difficult, poorly. We're also a little bit under pressure.
Yeah, there's actually a unit in the game that that we just added recently, the MP Charge Bot, and their skill is they set themselves on fire, and that makes them attack 3 times faster. And I just realized something. I made a small mistake designing them, because of course what they need to be doing is that they always get plus 3x attack speed when they're burning, no matter if they did it themselves or if the environment does it. I think that might be a really fun way to play against this enemy here, because then you can just send them in and they get set ablaze from the enemy, and then in return they just start firing like crazy. Yeah, I don't know. One thing that I was really worried with the design of the game is like we do a lot with status effects, and also active skills kind of play an important role. And those are things that I usually don't really engage with in other games. So that's why I think it's really important. Oh crap, that's dangerous.
Oh, that stunned everybody.
Yeah, you can see the rank on the bar under their health bar. They have like these sharp Also, if you just select one single unit, then you can see it on the bottom left corner. There's kind of a display, which will rework a bit. We definitely want to have a way to see all the units at once. Yeah, exactly. That's that bar just shows the like in StarCraft, because I think it's really important for using some skills. If you can just click, if you don't have to kind of with your mouse super precisely pick out one unit in a big blob, you can just click on their portrait image. We definitely want to have that, but it's a bit of a rework that we would have to do there. This is looking way better now.
Oh yeah.
I think you got this. Good job, good job. Eat the course, so your medics can heal. Yes.
Okay, let's go. Whoosh.
I think you got this. This is looking very promising here. Yeah, the playboards are great.
Oh, wait a bit. I just realized there's only... robot... no, not robots. Only... healbots remaining. Maybe start a layer of... Oh, I actually think I'm gonna might run out of time.
Have you saturated all of your... yeah, it's not too bad. If you run out of time, then you just lose one life, and that adds 5 more minutes. So then we can also see what happens if you lose a life, which we haven't yet, because you've been playing just phenomenally well. Although no, I think you got this.
Let's go.
Come on, rush in. You just have to destroy the factories. You don't have to destroy all the other buildings there. Yeah. Very good. I think that's the last building.
Ooh, close call.
Good job. That was close.
Hey!
Yes.
Wow.
Nice. All right, and that's the last level now that we're getting into.
That's the last one with the... That's why it's so shiny ready.
Yeah.
Okay, now we have to make good decisions here. A sniper turret. Okay, machine gun turret. Energy transfer turret. Transfers damage that it deals into crystals. And it slows down the targets. I think that combined with the snipers is super nasty, and it creates money.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Let's grab
because
that.
the snipers attack so slowly that that's a pretty good combo, I think. So wait, let me. How many coins do you have?
We have 50.
Top. All right, yeah, then it's probably not worth it going to the shop. Then I would just definitely go the right side here, because then you get a bunch of nice stuff for the last lobby here.
Exactly. Consider a chance to spawn a robo-zombie when a friendly unit dies. That sounds fun.
Yeah. Bouncy Bounty is also really strong because it basically... I mean, although your grenades have such a huge radius that you basically have a very easy way to just bounty the whole enemy anyway.
Starting 5 Marines. I think we're gonna go with Zombo.
Yeah.
robots.
I think that's the right call here because you can then you kind of get something for when your micros die.
Boost damage on the sniper.
Yeah, that makes sense. Although, just as a note here, when you put it on the transfer turrets, that also means they generate more money, right? Because the money they generate is directly tied to how much damage they deal. So.
Oh, yeah, makes sense.
Yep.
A bounty tower? What?
Mm-hmm.
A deadly cool bank kills friendly units in a radius of 3 and respawns them close to itself.
Yeah, so that is a really powerful building when you have like a zombie focused build because you just got this zombie upgrade. There's a unit that you can get pretty early on that can use the cores to spawn those zombies. So that way you can have like those really cool builds where you have a bunch of micros and have them die all the time and just then generate zombies from them. And then there's another hack that if you're really lucky that you can get, which gets a chance for a zombie to spawn another zombie when it dies. So you have like this ball of robo zombies that can just spawn from when you lose your army. So it's this moment of, well, my army's dead, but now my zombies are coming.
I see.
And that of course is a really nice synergy here with the callback spire, but I don't think in our build here that makes sense. But I think the bounty tower is of course the right call here. So that is just a global skill, right? So that means whenever something gets bounty, it will take damage each second. And you can also upgrade that again. You can also extend the building cap on those. So they're not super strong in the base version, but with some hacks and upgrades, I think they can actually be really, really powerful. Or maybe not really powerful, but I think people tend to maybe underestimate a bit the worth of getting the enemy army softened a bit, even the units that you're not kind of actively engaging at the moment.
Why they're red? I don't like red flowers.
Yeah, they're just decoration. If you hover over it with the mouse and it changes shape, then that means there's something going on there. If it doesn't, then it's just decoration.
Love the explosions, they're so good. Now we have 2 bases going on.
3 actually. Those are just outposts.
Outposts. Oh, hello there, big blue rock. Actually, wait. Come, little one. To build a rush building.
Yeah, so I'd be really curious to see how this goes now because we got a lot of complaints from people who said that this enemy is completely unfair and it's basically not possible to beat it and stuff like that. But we definitely nerfed it quite a bit. But yeah, depending on some micro decisions that you have to make pretty soon, this can go.
We're probably gonna lose then.
No, I don't think so. You still have 3 lives. If you hover over the heart, just press space for a second so I can because that is something that we haven't tutorialized yet. Is how the lives work because we're probably gonna change them a little bit. But basically, every time the engineer dies, it triggers this gigantic stun that stuns all enemies for 20 seconds. Gives you enough crystals to rebuild a refinery, so that way to build most of the buildings in the game. And also produces 2 units from each factory that you've built. So basically it's kind of a way to, all right, you screwed up, you lost your engineer, but this is kind of a way to maybe get you back into the game here. I really like that because it's kind of cool, and then also it has a fun effect which I didn't really think of before. It's a tool that speedrunners can use, right? Because you can just kind of do enemy engineer sacrifice tactics where you use that super aggressively and then take the health recharge things. But yeah, for example, if you engage the enemy base and you still have life left, that might actually be something that I will have to nerf, because it's such a powerful stun that you can basically get into the enemy base and do a lot of damage there for a while before they become active again. Very tactics, yeah, special tactics. There we go.
Oh, coming from the other side, I see. And from two sides, actually.
Oh, the slow is nice.
Give me more refinery. Boost up our production.
I think here it might also be worth, because to kind of scout the map a bit, because on this map there is usually there's like a neutral building that if you put your units beside it, it generates a bit of extra money as well.
Let's build a micro to do that.
It's not super interesting. Like there's a lot of things like this crystal tower that's in the building here. They're a bit like a proof of concept for me to try out, or for us to see, hey, is this cool to have like these kind of neutral buildings on the map? And I think it definitely is, and then we can kind of come up with more interesting or crazier stuff that we can do with that. Then it's always, we try to find ways to kind of design things that help us learn what the game wants to be, basically, and then see if the ideas we have actually make it better or not, and then go from there. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. This is a really good concept to have. So
I think that's definitely just something that we kind of took from the company that we worked at before. Like I said, we were in mobile game development, and in that genre you have very quick development cycles, so it's really important to kind of try to learn as quickly as you can. And even though there's a lot of things about that area of games that I don't like, there's definitely some things in terms of like process of development that I think are really smart, that people kind of, there we go, that's the one. So if you just stand here, you can see if you walk away a little bit, then the light goes out. That means it's kind of deactivated.
Ah, yeah. Okay.
And if you get closer to it, then there's just a random chance per second that it will trigger.
That looks like a big... Is that putting energy into these guns?
Yeah, basically. They basically make them do way more damage and heal them insanely quickly. So if you want to take those out, you need to find a way to get rid of those before. Or you don't need to. You can also kill them with just overwhelming force, but then you lose more stuff than you have to, probably. Although, you know what? Actually, in that case, for example, that might be a cool situation to use like a sniper, a little group of snipers to
take it out.
Yeah, to take it out before it, because they have the active skill that kind of stealths them for it.
Okay, let me see. We want a sniper factory. Good. And
another secret kind of mechanic that's in the game that is, I think, really important also for speedruns and for players like me who like to play really greedily and build up way too many refineries in the beginning. You can actually build buildings on top of enemies, and it's an instant kill because it gets dropped from orbit, so that makes sense, right? But that is, of course, fairly risky, because it means that you have to put your engineer kind of in harm's way. But yeah, that is something that you can do. If you can use building buildings aggressively.
Actually, let's plant over here also a rush beacon. Okay. And I'm gonna create a sniper team and try out the exact thing that you just mentioned.
Yeah, I think that should work well here. One thing here about the bigger of these glowing plants here that you can see down there, they actually grow. So they can spawn offshoots of them, which they do pretty rarely. But there's levels. We have like that's not in the demo yet, or maybe it won't come to the demo. There's like a bamboo level where the bamboo just grows incredibly quickly and just respawns all the time. So that's really kind of a really interesting map because you have to kind of make your free your path over and over again, and kind of like the enemy also has to do that. And
that's interesting.
And of course, if you have a fire deck, it's it's a big firework party because you can just if you ignite one of them, then there's a pretty big chance that it will spread over kind of half the map and burn everything in its way. It's one of my favorite things. It's really a bit stupid. I think I don't know if it's kind of, I don't know if it's sophisticated enough to be like an interesting game mechanic, but for me it's just super fun. Just because I don't know, maybe I'm a bit of a pyromaniac and seeing just stuff burn off just satisfying to me.
I think we might be in trouble here.
Maybe now's the time to teach them about the secrets of the engineer and just let go of one of your hearts. That's definitely, yeah, exactly. That's Silver. Silver had the same thought here. Yeah, so the heart, the reason why I'm saying that the drop-off mechanic here, which we are seeing right now.
Bam!
Yeah. I really want to change that a bit so that the ship that you see in the intermission screen where the engineer sits and also in the main menu, that the ship comes in and kind of drops him off. I think that would be way cooler than just having this nondescript thing here going. I've actually been experimenting a little bit with that yesterday, but I'm not quite there yet. But yeah, we're probably gonna make the drop pods like this, the death effect, a little bit weaker because probably it's not 100% certain if we want to do that, but we want to try it because it's probably not super hard to get like a basic version of them. Is we want to have like a potion system, so like single-use items that are pretty powerful, and yeah, that way you could kind of maybe use those to get you out of a sticky situation instead of sacrificing an engineer, because I feel like for a lot of people that is kind of it just doesn't feel great. That's not something you want to do, right? You don't want to sacrifice it as a guy, so having other ways to that feel more intuitively right might make sense. Yeah, I think your snipers actually, yeah. Snipers got your back here.
Shit.
Oh, there's another one. Maybe shoot the stun bush before this one, so we can get rid of him for a couple of seconds here.
What? Stun bush?
If you use, you have to use the control, the force attack, not the attack move, because the attack move always prioritizes enemies. Yeah, there we go. Now you send in your snipers as well or something.
Ooh! I think we might have a problem.
Yeah, I think it's time for blade bots and medics. So you have a bunch of money here. Oh, actually, also don't forget about your energy transfer turrets. Oh, you have a couple of them, because that's why you suddenly have like this influx of money here, because they that's kind of, there's also kind of a synergy, right? Because having enemies with a lot of HP means that they can shoot them a lot, so that means you generate more crystals. Just so kind of nice of the enemy to provide you something to combo off of. Yeah, it's better.
Some heal bots.
Yeah, I have to get another drink. Sorry, my voice is a bit frayed. I'm
All good, all good.
Yeah, back in a second.
Ooh. Nearly was out of the influence there of Rush. Oh, that's a Robo Zombo. I see. Yes. Hold position. You guys are group 1. Jeebus. Okay, we have a side that is holding it away. Chat, I'm super sorry that I cannot pay attention to you guys as well, since this is more than stressful for a very rusty RTS player. Okay.
Yeah, low poly CNC is yeah. Sorry, I'm back here. Low poly CNC or StarCraft. That's definitely a bit of the style. But I actually had massive imposter syndrome with the graphics of the game. But I think if you play it, I think it actually looks mostly really nice. Like there's some stuff in there that I definitely want to improve. But yeah, I think overall the style works fairly well. Especially for the fact that I've never modeled a single 3D model before this in my whole life. So, but yeah, definitely there's definitely some people for whom it's too colorful or stuff like that. But I don't know, I like it. Oh, I'm chill.
No, out of there.
Yeah, good job. You dodged that.
Let's go. Let's go.
And also, I think also the style has kind of a hidden bonus as well, because in RTS games there's so much stuff going on all the time that it's very important that the map is very readable. And I think having that art style that is not super dense with like textures everywhere and like swaying grass everywhere and that kind of stuff, it kind of maybe eases that a little bit, so that it's it's easier to kind of see at all times what's actually happening.
Okay, let's make it even more fun for the snipers too.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. You can just block them. Maybe you can just. Though that might be difficult. I don't know how long the range of the rush beacons is there. You could just try to. Maybe it would work to just block the ramp here, and just have them on hold so they they just don't let them through. Yeah, I don't know. It might be broken. Maybe I have to. We've been discussing the snipers a bit in the Discord in the last couple of weeks.
This is like a super OP way. They're just standing
there,
taking everything apart.
Yeah, exactly. And I like that. I like having them kind of hook into the rush beacon system like that. But I don't know. Maybe just something that makes sense. Like if the enemy is closer than like 2 cells or 1 cell to them, then they just get ruined or something like that.
That could be something, yeah.
Yeah.
So we're gonna try that sniper team action that you said.
Yeah, good luck with that. Yeah, in chat somebody said that most of the time these days people are going for like the more of the squad-based RTS style, and yeah, I really like those games as well. But yeah, that's not what we are trying to make. Like, we would try to make a, if you loved StarCraft, if you love Command and Conquer, that's a game for you, because that's where what we grew up with, right? That's the reason I built my first PC was because I played Command and Conquer at a friend's house and just I loved it so much that I kind of started saving all my money for a while, and then actually I built it myself and had no idea what I was doing, and I fried my motherboard because I was wearing shoes on carpet, and I had so much static electricity that I just fried my motherboard. The first time I built the PC, and then my parents felt so bad for me that they actually bought me a new one of those.
So it was actually working.
Yeah, but you can also move them out, right? Because they have an active skill. You can just use their Q to here to make them invisible once you're out of the rush beacon range here. Well, I mean, yeah, this works. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't know. This watching it, this looks a bit silly that they're just they can't just move in there like that. But I know when I play the game, you know, I want you to still feel kind of tension and pressure. So I don't know, because I think if it's too powerful, then you kind of get into this mode where there is no excitement about what you're doing anymore. And
Yeah,
if that is the case, yeah, if that's the case, then we exactly then we have to change them. If yeah, so I don't know. Maybe I think having them revealed when somebody gets really close, that might just be what makes sense or something.
I would say so, at least, because, well, as you can see, I'm just waltzing through there with an elite group.
Yeah. Oh, you have a lot of money.
Yeah.
You can kind of mount an attack here soon.
That's what I'm gonna do now.
Oh, you're also max cap.
So, oh, that was just an outpost, as you said.
Sorry, just what did you say? Sorry.
That was just an outpost that we just destroyed here. It was not the main base.
Yeah, exactly. That wasn't just an outpost. Actually, they're a bit. I don't know. They don't really make sense because they're just turrets in the middle of nowhere. I want to change them a little bit fairly soon. My idea is that they will actually have like a prison building, and there will be 2 of them. And in these prison buildings, you will find units that you cannot find as card in the demo. So you get kind of like a single-use unit. Like a huge tank or a mech of the other tech trees that we don't have in the demo yet. I think that might be kind of a cool way to have a preview of what you might have in terms of units in the full game. I really like that idea to kind of make the demo a bit more exciting there in the end. And yeah, someone in chat said that they were really excited about the Tempest Rising trailer, and yeah, same. It looks awesome.
So I will just try now this Doom army of snipers. Just gonna try a sniper build here.
I'm trying to figure out the person who wrote the last couple of questions here. If there's some way to actually read their name in a way that makes sense, and I just can't figure it out.
Relic.
Really? How? Yeah. Okay. If you say so. Right. I thought I was fairly up on my how stuff gets written on the internet, but that one I couldn't figure out. Oh man, that's a lot of snipers. As long as you were if you're careful not to put them into any kind of danger here, then I think they should be able
burn!
to. Oh, yeah,
Just
nice.
block them. Oh.
Right, yeah, thanks for the questions, Frederick.
Let's build here the backup. Maybe read out the question loud when you're answering them. So for the
yes, you are right. Sorry,
well,
I think
I
did that the first couple of times. Yeah.
All good, all good. So basically, I'm just now building these as we go. Dude, this is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Just having an invisible sniper army.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, that's... I think they're a bit too close to kind of like a... If you have them, there's like this default thing that you can do, and it's just super powerful, and I don't think that is super fun. So I think we will have to find some way to rework them. And yeah, so I'm saying I all the time, but it's all like the two of us. Like it's definitely like I am making all the units, but Martin and I are discussing how they're gonna work all the time. So
don't get too crazy, Mr. Engineer.
Oh yeah, now you got the turrets, the rush beacons in their base. Yeah, okay. I think. Oh, you know what you're doing there? I don't think you even realize how powerful that. The reason your snipers are so powerful is your beacons are refineries, and that allows you to build beacons near beacons. Usually you cannot build stuff outside refinery range, but since you gave them the trait of being a refinery, now the engineer can build stuff anywhere where there's a rush beacon. Because the rule is that you can only build near refinery. So yeah, that means yeah. Because usually you have to. Yeah, so usually you have to wait until you can. So yeah, kind of, you find a really cool combo here, basically, without noticing it. I think it's a bit too much of a. Yeah, I know. It feels a bit like the sniper strategy is a bit overpowered and needs like some kind of tweaking to. Yeah, you found
an exploit. Yes, I feel no.
I mean, it's kind of a semi. It's actually that is completely on purpose. That you can do that is on purpose. But I think I underestimated basically how powerful that would be with the snipers.
Especially since if you build up more of this piercing armor stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
Make them even crazier.
You can you can just build a base here in the base of the enemy and just chill a bit before you win. Where's the last factory? It should be. You should. Down there somewhere. Yeah, I think there's only one factory left. I think you can just move a bit down there. And you should. Oh man, the buildings just melt away with a group of snipers like that. They do so much damage now because you have all the upgrade. Oh, and you also put the upgrade, the damage upgrade on them.
Yeah. Yes, I see. It's not unfair. The last boss, and I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
We just exploited it. That was great. That was great.
Good job, man. You beat it.
Firework.
First try. Although I think you played a little bit before, right? Because you didn't have to do the tutorial. I think you.
I played the tutorial. That was all.
All right. Yeah.
That was all.
So what do you think?
I think it is freaking fantastic. It plays. It's like. It's hooking you. Once you start, you're just like, next match.
Yeah.
What cards? What synergies? What can I grab? And I love the pacing of it. I love the pacing of it. I love that it's it's not like big matches. It's just like. Nonetheless, I got stressed now in the last one. I was like, tanks are coming, and I was way too slow. But that that boom of the engineer stunning them all, and then. Finding my little niche exploit there with the snipers to just send them in stealth army commando with the refinery tweak with the placements, indirectly exploiting it.
Yeah, no, that's awesome. I think that is kind of exactly, even though the sniper combo that there might be a bit broken. in general, that is exactly what I want the game to be, right? You figured something out. You found a combo that is in the rules, but you you have to kind of understand how stuff works, and then that enables you to do some really cool stuff there, to kind of may have this powerful ball of invisible snipers that then roll over the enemy. And yeah, I think that's really cool. And I think if you figure that stuff out and then you know that, then next time you can choose your upgrades and your cards a bit more purposefully. And so I'm so looking forward to adding the difficulty layers, because I think it will be so cool if then there's like a modificator where, or maybe that would be the way to balance it, right? Hey, stealth units now will be visible if there's an enemy within 2 ranges. Maybe we leave it like it is in the base difficulty, but like if you're 5 difficulty levels up, or ascension levels up, then that changes or something. And
all of a sudden, I have to switch my whole tactics around. Nice.
You have to be a bit more careful. You have to kind of maybe put, but then maybe it still works if you put like another unit in front that's very tanky and that can keep the enemy a bit off your snipers. And I don't know, I really like that way to kind of make the game, like, I want it to be like, basically, if it's possible, every run you should find something where you think, oh, that is broken, and I figured it out, and I'm so smart, and I think that's because it's so fun, because like I said before, that still happens to me, right? I'm playing the game myself, and there's still stuff where suddenly I realize, oh, right, because this has this trait and this hooks into that, then that means this is going to happen if I do this. And then I take the card and I'm really excited, and I try it out, and yes, it's exactly like I thought it would be. And that is super satisfying.
That was exactly the feeling. I mean, sadly, my face was not showing as we're playing, but I was like just smiling here, seeing that my stuff was just destroyed everything, and I was really hooked. I was really hooked.
Yeah.
Well, for those interested, you can find the titles in chat. Go check it out. The demo is free to download. It will be even after Tacticon. For those watching the VOD, you will have all the links to all the directions that you want and wish for in the comments down below. If I forget anything, let me know. Yeah.
Just in the demo, like, there's a bunch of stuff. Like, you can, if you replay the demo, you will be able to run a couple of really differently feeling builds. Like, there's you can, like I said before, you can do like a robo necromancy thing where you use the cores to have like zombies. You can have the robo bombs, which are like these suicide units, and kind of just have this wave of always exploding stuff that you send towards the enemy, and give them those bomb creeps, so that when they explode, they send out the bomb creeps, so that you have like this dual explosion kind of thing. And like there's so many things that you can already do in the demo, and
sounds hilarious.
The demo is really huge like that, and the full game will be way crazier, and the runs will be a bit longer, of course, and there will be several layers basically to them, and there will be more factions, more cards, and more of everything that's already in there. So
I can't wait to see that happen. I will definitely keep a good eye on the Rogue Command. It's, besides the game that you mentioned previously, the first RTS in a long time that really hooked me and wants me to keep on playing. I tried Age of Empires, the newest one, a little bit, and some other stuff. It was like, yeah, played it, knew it, have it already. It's kind of a same thing over and over, but it's great. Especially, it needs for me to be a good synergy in gameplay if there's no storyteller that drives me in terms of, hey, what's going on next? When's the next cutscene? What's happening there? Like StarCraft 2, for example, did. I'm excited. Any last words to the dear viewers out there on Twitch and also Steam?
If you find the game in any way interesting, it would be super helpful to us if you could wishlist it. Of course, that is like a super important thing for all indie developers, or probably all developers. If you want to kind of give feedback, if you have ideas, or want to complain about something, then just join our Discord. That is where most of the discussions go. But at this point, we're still at a point where I'm able to read basically everything that anybody writes anywhere. So if you go to Steam Furnace or something, I'm super happy about any kind of feedback there. But I think our Discord is definitely the most alive place for discussions around the game. And yeah, also just check out the demo. What we saw right now was the demo. You can just download that and play it yourself, and it will get updated regularly until we hit early access. There will be new things coming to the demo, new content. Maybe we will switch around some graphical things or some camera settings or something, because we will. That's why we call it demo lab, because we want to kind of be not afraid to kind of change and break things a bit for a time, because that is super valuable for us to kind of to learn. So yeah, thanks so much for everybody, and I'm really happy that you had fun. It seemed like you were really into it.
I loved it. I loved it. It was great. It was great. Ladies and champions, that was Roguelike for you. Hope you enjoyed it. Until next time. Bye-bye.